Emilio De Icaza. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, a pleasure.
Emilio is my cousin. Very, very amazing guy. Thank you so much for being here, man, and taking the
Yeah, thanks
time
for having me.
in Mexico. Um, and I wanted to talk about the reason why I invited you on. I wanted to talk with you was about the trip that you had to Latin America and South America, and that was one of the craziest experiences that I have heard, especially coming from someone in my family. I mean, I don't want to, you know, throw shade, but it's so cool to see things like that in my family. Opens the doors for really cool conversations, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely a life-changing experience. I think most
Mm,
of the trips, when you go travel someplace new with a different culture and different everything, like the your mind opens up. Uh, so so yeah, you start seeing the world differently because you live different things. So I think that's one
mm,
of the things that has more impact in me because everything like you all the things that you see and you experience are completely different than what you have home, so it changes you.
mm. And for those who kind of don't really know, could you just give a little like brief explanation? Because honestly, I'm a little rough on it as well. I don't know the exact details, but could you just give like a
Yeah,
small
so
explanation?
so it was right after the end of the pandemic. The borders were just opening up, so I was like in my life I identified that it was a good moment. I just finished college, and
Mm,
I was working, but I was in a job that I knew I wasn't gonna be there forever. It was just like a temporary thing,
mm,
and I just saw the opportunity. I mean, I was able to have a bit of money saved because I was living with my parents while I was working. So, and you couldn't
mm.
do anything. You couldn't do shit. You can say shit in here. Yeah, right.
Yeah, 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 of course.
Okay, so yeah, so when the borders start opening, I saw that opportunity, and I wanted to explore South America. I always feel like there are a lot of places cool and like very important to go and see. And South America, it's just enormous. It's huge, so you have
Mm.
a bunch of opportunities. And so yeah, I went to first Colombia, then I went to Peru. Well, first Costa Rica,
Um,
then Colombia, and then Peru. Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't I went without with a one-way ticket. I didn't want to have like that pressure that the trip was gonna end in some place. So that
Smart.
opens up like the opportunity to go and like where the flow takes you and what you want to see. So that's I think that's important because if you have like an end date, you are like a bit limited or what you want to do. So yeah,
Mm.
so and also I was traveling cheap as I could. What I did is I inscribed myself in a volunteer app that they have volunteers all around the world. So I went to Costa Rica first with our family, very welcoming there. I spent like a week and a half, and then I went to a farm near the border of Guatemala, and
Mm.
that I spent there 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks I didn't pay for the like a hotel or anything because I was working with them. And like my intention of the trip was immerse myself in nature. I mean, I didn't want to go to cities and see like the life in the city. I had enough with that. So those volunteers were always on farms or on ecological projects. They were all sustainable or trying to be sustainable. So I wanted to
Mm.
immerse in that world, and I did, and it was awesome. I mean, you learn a lot. I mean, nature, it's beautiful and it's very pleasant, but it's also very rough. And there are these two sides of nature that we all need to experience, I think, because the life in the city it's very domesticated. It's very, you don't see dirt anywhere. If you see any kind of animal, you're like, that's disgusting, and please kick it out, kill it, and put poison in them. And none of that is sustainable. At the end,
Mm.
we are nature, and the dirt is part of us. So that's like one of the things that impacted the most, and it was very cool.
Man, that's interesting because I love thinking about the karmic consequences of killing a spider. I mean, I love talking about this. In my neuroscience class, they taught us that using the raid spray, they taught us how it works, and like it's the most painful way that anything could ever die. Like, yeah, I don't remember exactly how it works, but it's terrible. And
No, it's poison. I mean, it's you are killing something with poison. Like every living thing has his purpose, like in nature, in their environment. Even that spider needs to eat the mosquito, and then needs to be food for a bird or something. And when you put poison on them, you're not just killing the spider, but you're also polluting like the whole cycle. So it's super
mm,
destructive.
man, yeah, and it's interesting how nature is kind of it doesn't really care about that. Like if you go into nature, like a spider will eat a spider and it will be like so dramatic. And my question is kind of like you were telling me that you had to hunt your own food. And so like how did you prepare yourself for that? And also like how do you think maybe like I don't want to say the your karma for killing animals, but how did you compare like killing something for your food versus like getting something out of your house because you think it's going to disturb you or something?
Yeah, that's a great question because it was one of the things that like I wanted to reflect about while I was there. When I had to hunt my food was in Peru. I went to
In
a volunteer in
Peru.
the Amazonas, in the Peruvian Amazonic. It was in a little village called Shintuya.
Mm,
And the thing, I mean, we did have grains, beans, rice, fruits that was
mm.
available for us. We also had like a bunch of bananas and a lot of fruit that was on the land. But yeah, like the main source of protein were fish, for example. And
Um,
it's this idea that is very new idea for all the like vegetarians and vegans that we don't want to kill anything because that's like a bad karmic thing or whatever.
mhm.
But I mean, think about it. We are killing a lot of things. Even when we breathe, there are like bacteria and stuff on the air that you're
Oh
killing them.
shit.
And so it's
Damn.
when you like take out a plant and eat it, you're killing the plant. I mean, the plant also has a life,
That's a good
and
point.
so it's just part of life. And I don't know, I don't think that it's wrong to kill it, especially when it's something that you need.
Yeah.
and and more importantly there, I mean, you need the food, so that's the way they live. So that they fish because they need to eat. They don't fish, I don't know, to put the fish in a tank and expose them to, I don't know,
Mm,
people. So it's very different, I think. I didn't feel like I was doing something wrong. Mm, there's even a pretty like the most like the thing that I was morally conflicted about was that they had a tradition there for Mother's Day that they made soup
ooh,
out of monkeys.
that's
So
right.
they do a monkey soup, and so we went hunt for monkeys. And at the time I was vegetarian. I mean, I didn't have any
Mm,
meat like in my trip and all. um, and I was like this moral thing that okay, so it's their life, it's their culture, it's their jungle. They've been here thousands of years. Who am I to judge? Like, no, don't kill that monkey because it's wrong. I mean, I was completely out of context, and so I just went with it. I accompanied them, and it was tough because I mean I didn't enjoy particularly the experience. I remember like you saw a lot of monkeys on when I was living there, and always when I saw one like jumping out of trees, I was smiling and being grateful for life and stuff.
Yeah.
And when we killed the monkey, I mean, he like shot it. I wasn't happy, of course. I was like very conflicted. It was like a shock to me. I remember hearing the monkey fall to the ground, and it was like a big drum as like boom,
Whoa.
and like replicated in my heart, and it was like, oh shit, it's dead. And and
Yeah.
then we went there. We had to take the from the jungle to the village, and I was carrying the monkey in my back, and it was like dripping blood, and I was like, holy shit. Um,
You get
but
monkeypox.
yeah, so I mean, it's tough. You don't want to see those kind of animals die because like they're beautiful and especially if they're in danger. This one wasn't in danger and it was like on season and all of that was okay. But it's a pretty shocking thing. And it wasn't the same killing a fish than killing a monkey. Somehow it feels different. uh, one part of me said like it shouldn't feel different because a life of a monkey is no lesser life than a fish, and it's no lesser life than a human. But still, something there, it's something changes. That's the like something for sure. But I didn't feel bad. I didn't like condemn the people in the village that, oh, how can you do that? You don't care about the environment because that's their way of life. That's their way of being with the environment. So yeah, I don't think there's a like karmic. Uh, I don't know what were the word that you said.
Consequence. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the karmic consequence because it's just interaction. I mean, one day they will die and their body is gonna be food for the plants and like the life. So
Mm,
but yeah, I mean, it's shocking. I wouldn't do it again, of course. I'm not gonna buy a gun and start killing monkeys or whatever animals I'm gonna find here.
mm.
But I'm not against it. I mean, as I think it's way better to live a life with that morality than buying meat with of a big farm where they have the animals in prison and they are feeding them shit and they have it in like the worst conditions possible. For me, that's a way better karmic consequence than just killing something on wildlife that was his whole life happy or because I mean it's
Oh,
way different.
wow.
When you buy like the meat in the supermarket and you know it's from a cow that has been unlocked his whole life, I mean it's super depressing to see like those lives, the lives that those animals have, and it's our fault and somehow that thing is better than killing an animal on the wild.
Why?
It also like it's important to see if we all start killing people animals on the wild, they will terminate. I mean, we are way too many
Mm,
humans to do that, so it's not like a sustainable choice to do, but it doesn't make it worse than eating meat from a supermarket because you didn't kill the cow.
yeah, they are I think they're starting to be able to grow meat like from the ground.
Right. Like with the stem cells, right? I think so, or something like that. I'm not sure it's from the ground, but yeah, I mean, science it's a big help. It definitely it's the
Mm,
answer to our ecological problems.
wow.
We just need to be smart about it and work
Yeah.
with it with like a community, right?
Yeah.
We need like the whole people needs to support those ideas so the government can fund them and just start moving to a better future.
Yeah. Wow, man. Thank you. That's great advice. I like that. Um, I do want to talk a little bit about the culture in Shimpuya. Uh, is that where were there shamans? Were there shamans there in Shimpuya? Is that
Yeah, it's
where you met the shaman?
Shintuya. Uh,
Shintuya. Okay,
yeah,
with a T.
it was. I mean, also one of the things I was searching about, like I knew I wanted to do ayahuasca, but I didn't knew like when or where. And if I didn't do it, I was like okay with it. I just wanted to feel right. And when I was in Peru, I was in Machu Picchu, and I was searching for the volunteers like on the Amazonia. And the
Mm,
only program that accepted me was with this man called Otteri, and it was a reforestation program. It was like super cool. He had a little. He was in Shintuya. He had a house there, but where we were gonna work was like the 5 kilometers deep into the jungle, without any lights, without any like electricity or
damn.
Wi-Fi. So for me, it was perfect because I wanted to go like the most out of grid possible.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I found out that Oteri he didn't refer he didn't refer himself as a shaman,
Hmm.
but he told me that
Oh,
his father was considered a shaman. But I mean, it was just like a medicine man, or but he knew how
yeah.
to use the plants, and his father taught him. So he didn't say that he was a shaman, but I mean, he fall into the description because he knew the use of plants. He was very in touch with nature, and I mean, he lived there in the Amazonia, and what he did was like reforestate. He was like help his community depended on him to help him with those kind of affairs. So, and when I got there, he asked me because there were casually a couple of Mexicans that were there with him, and they were about to do ayahuasca. And he told me, "Oh, it's like super blurry.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
something that was
I think I'm on
never
ayahuasca
mind.
right now. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the vibe. It's the vibe."
It'll go away once we're done, I promise. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you can like wipe it. I don't know why it looks like that. That's kind of out of focus,
No,
maybe.
it's a problem with with my
Oh, okay,
like.
there you go.
Yeah, I know it, but
Okay, cool.
just ignore it. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
it's
Uh,
added to the effect.
yeah. But I mean, he asked me there, like, if I wanted to do it, and I say no because I mean, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it with him. I didn't knew him. I didn't knew like
Mm,
what was him all about. So I wanted to first be super sure that I wanted to do it, and then like proceed. It was like my first time experimenting with any with those type of drugs, and also and I also done my research. No, I knew like what were the effects, like what happens to people, and some stories. So I want to have my own experience, but I wanted to be safe about it. So I first say no, and I spent the first month working with him, and a month passed, and I was already like in sync with the environment. I mean, not completely, but I felt it more in sync. And my birthday was coming up. It was my 24 birthday or 23 birthday maybe. And I
nice.
said that's the perfect date. I mean, I want to do ayahuasca on my birthday.
Oh,
So like
damn.
everything aligned and it felt right. I trust completely. I had complete trust with Oteri. I mean, at the end, I mean, I was gonna trust my life to him. So I wanted to be sure. And I knew like
Of
what he
course.
was all about. I knew his work. I knew like I trusted him. So I felt that it was the right
Mm,
thing to do. And it was awesome because I mean I went with him to the jungle to cut the root of ayahuasca, of the vein. Sorry. And
mm,
I I was there with in the little, what was it called, where we live, like in the jungle.
hmm.
We cooked there the ayahuasca, and I was there like, yeah, you need to cook it for 3 days in 3 straight days. So I was there
Oh,
with the fire. Like, I remember I spent like 2 whole days there without any communication, just me and the fire. I read to the fire, to the ayahuasca. I mean, I was in
well,
touch with him. So
wow.
uh, Yeah, and I think it was like a very good approach because
Hmm.
one of my biggest fears is to not knew where the drug is coming from, right? Like the where the liquid is coming from. And in this way, like I went with to the jungle. I asked permission to the plants. I was treating it. I mean, I was involved in the whole process, so I was fully aware of what I drinking. That helped me a lot. And also like Oteri knew how to take the plants. He knew what to do with the preparation. We were in a special diet for 3 weeks, I think, like 3 weeks without any sugar, without any salt, any alcohol, any weed. We couldn't eat meats, so it was all like very different.
Hmm.
And I was sure that I wanted to do it with him. So yeah, it was a pretty good experience. And yeah, he was a I mean, you can call him a shaman because it's
Hmm.
like the popular word right now, but he didn't refer himself to being a
Right.
shaman.
Yes, and that's interesting. Like one thing that I used to not know was that ayahuasca is different, like in every place that you go, right? Because the shaman, I think, puts different stuff in the tea, right? Like depending on where you are, right? Or depending the shaman.
Well, I'm not sure, but I'm not super comfortable with the way right now the drug is being represented to the world. I mean,
Hmm.
I know that there are a bunch of ceremonies of ayahuasca all around the world.
Hmm.
But I think there is a big, like the biggest issue there is that people like you're not ready to take ayahuasca. Most of the people are not ready. I mean, I'm sure some of them there will be ready, but it's an overstimulated experience that maybe sometimes harms you, but
Hmm.
definitely it's a definitely like a mind opener. I mean, just you go into places that you never expect to do like on your regular life. But I think that the point of all of these things is like to show where you can be. Like those
Hmm.
consciousness states, you can reach them without any drugs. But I mean, it's a very dedicated and life work. Like it's not easy. And what ayahuasca and like LSD or I don't know, like peyote, they are like a bit of a shortcut. Like they are a window. They show you what's that about, and it's like
Hmm.
super shocking. And it also might be. I mean, for me, it was a very fruitful experience. I mean, I got a lot of very nice messages and some of like my conduct changed forever after taking that ayahuasca and for the better.
Hmm.
So it's like it's a big issue, no? Like, it's not, well, not an issue, but like a very political polemical.
Yeah. Can I ask you, I kind of want to ask you two things. I wanted to ask you what were those things that you said that you changed in your life for after doing that trip, or
Mhm.
like what were some things that you apply in your life today? Like what were some of those things that you
Yeah,
learned?
so well, I can tell you like the whole experience
Yes,
because
please,
it's
man.
kind of
So I'm
like
try I'm trying
all
I'm
the
trying to
way.
tiptoe around it. Just
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's great, and it was. I mean, I love it. It was one of the best experiences in my life. Um, how Oteli told us that it was meant to happen, as it was my first time, we needed to do it 3 times. The first time was
Ooh.
to like acknowledge, to feel the medicine on your body, like to see how it feels, and like to have the first interaction with it. The second one, you were meant to put it like a more specific intention, like to start interacting with the medicine. And the
Mm.
third was like to to approve, like to like for the medicine to really help you, so you can control the more or less the effects and take the medicine to the place that you wanted to take it, right, with your intention. And well, we needed to do like the whole diet, and we needed to do on a new moon, with a like new moon and complete darkness, right? So that's one of the
Wow.
things that I've seen very differently in some of the other ayahuasca experience that I've heard of, because there are always like the fire, and there are a lot of people singing and whatnot. But what
Yeah.
they told me is that you needed complete darkness because it's an immersive experience. I mean, you don't need to go to the outside; you need to go to the inside. So he told me he
Ah.
told me something very that's really struck me, because he said,
Uh-huh.
okay, that we're gonna take it, and we're gonna sit in the dark, and we're not gonna say a word. I mean, if you want to say something, first ask your heart if it needs to be said, and if it needs to be said, okay. But if it doesn't, just keep quiet, and it's for yourself. And that's like, first, that's super differently to what like most people do, right?
Sure, yeah. Usually we
Hmm.
react to pain. Like if our leg hurts, we move our leg, right? Like if you got like some kind of discomfort, like if you just started getting uncomfortable, would you change your position or would you just be like, wait,
Yeah,
maybe? Oh, you would. Okay. So it wasn't as like
yeah,
super.
yeah. No, no. I mean, at the end, this lasted for the whole night. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's
took
true.
it at 9 p.m. and you didn't
Okay.
sleep for the whole night. You saw the sunrise,
Hmm.
because I mean, it's not a time to sleep. Um, and yeah, I mean, you can change positions now, but it's like an immersive experience. So you need to go inside and interact with the medicine. And it was, I mean, what the first thing I felt, it was like I took it, and I felt like how the liquid goes went to my stomach, and from my stomach it started like growing roots and veins to all of my body. Like
Whoa.
I don't know if you say liana, because ayahuasca is a liana. It's vein,
Vine.
something like a vine, yeah. And so I felt like all the vines going up inside like my
Oh.
arms and my neck. At first it was a bit scary, because it was like, holy shit, that's the plant. And the first thing I do is like relax, take a deep breath, and start moving like my neck. I remember that I was like with my head down, and I couldn't move because I felt that there was a strong vine like right inside my spine.
Oh. Okay.
So I was like, okay, relax. I have control, and I moved my neck, and it was okay. So that was my like first interactions with the plants. And then you start to realize that there's a
Mm.
living inside of you. I mean, the plant, like, it transmute to this liquid, but it's not dead. I mean, it has its own presence and its own like like divine characteristics. And so yeah, I was like feeling that strong vine growing all around my body. And but I was also aware that I knew what it was. I knew like it wasn't our first encounter, because we already have been 3 days, 4 days talking and like sharing an experience.
Hmm.
So I was pretty confident that the ayahuasca knew a bit of my personality, and I knew a bit of his. But this was like the complete interaction, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that I started to smile. Like it caused me, it was like a funny thing to me. And then I just like couldn't stop smiling, so it freaks me out. And
Like a
I was
loop.
like, no, no, I just like smile, and I just
Hmm.
like picture myself on that little hut in the middle of the jungle, like
Hmm.
smiling. And it kind of freaked me out a bit, because it turned like a bit sinister. But but
Oh,
it was, I mean, it
interesting.
was it was okay. It was just like a little phase of the experience.
Interesting.
And for that first, the most, I mean, it was a bit of I went like 2 years ago, so I don't remember exactly like everything I went to. But what really struck me on that first take was that I started like with after that smile and picturing myself on that hut, I like began to felt that my body, like it wasn't my body, like I wasn't my body. It was just one of the many things alive there, but it wasn't.
Mm.
And I started to feel like a foreigner in my own skin, like this, what this isn't me. and I felt like this amazing bio machine that we are, like a whole body made of tubes and heat and air and blood,
And meat.
just existing. and and yeah, so it was a strange sensation because
Yeah.
it was the first time I didn't identify myself as my body, and I saw it like super clear, like, okay, I'm sure I'm not that. Like it was like seeing, I don't know, like a stone, and like, you're not that stone, but I was feeling that with my whole body. and and then it happened the same but with my mind, and
Exactly.
I was like, okay, I'm not my body, and I'm also not my mind, like my thoughts and
Yeah.
my
Y-
memories.
Right.
And like
Like
my mind started.
like you end up saying like, well,
Right.
you're not this thought, which is like wait, you're like, wait, what? Okay, so what? If you're not this who's speaking right now,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So
yeah.
it was amazing because at that time I was doing a meditation of Sadhguru. That it was a bit of like,
Mm.
you say, it was like recognizing that you are not your body, you are not your mind. So
Mm.
but it wasn't the same. Like, you when you meditated, it was just like kind of a little mantra that you do, but I was living it. Like, the difference is that I was experiencing not being my body and not being my mind. So when I realized that I wasn't my mind, that I wasn't my thoughts and all, like, everything just go mute, and I was like in another like place, maybe like I was transcending or something. And then I saw like what I was, and I saw like this beautiful sphere of light, that was
Ooh.
that was me. I mean, that was like, I saw it, and I don't know if I saw it or I felt it, or what
Mm-hmm.
was it, but I knew that was me. And I was the sphere, and I was looking at my mind, and I was looking at my body, like over there,
Mm.
and I just felt like a lot of love, man. I was like completely full of love about myself. Then
Yeah.
yeah, like partially returned to my mind and my body, and the love like stayed there, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not my mind,
Oh.
but it's the way I'm interacting with the world right now. And I'm also not my body, but this is the machinery that it's allowing me to feel all those amazing things. So
Right.
I was like with a lot of love, and it was like, okay, so I know I'm not this, but I need to take care of it because it's one of the most precious things I have. So
Mm.
like, so yeah, I was okay. So like the whole situation of what we put into our
Wow.
body, what we do with our body, um, it completely changed because I was aware that, okay, I'm not this, but this is the one of the greatest gifts. It's the greatest gift I have in this world. So I'm gonna take care of it.
Mhm.
And the same with your mind. Like, your mind also needs to be taken care of.
Yes. Yeah, I
So
agree.
like this, yeah, and I was like full of love, man. I mean, I just remember that I was completely full of love. And I mean, this happened in a period of 6 7 hours, so it's not like very precise. And also there were a lot of mixed feelings in between the stages, and like everything
Yeah.
was
There's there
experience.
is it fair to say that there's no concept of time? Like 6 hours could have easily been a different like time measurement for you, or or did it feel like
Yeah,
six hours?
I think it's you don't think about time. It's like when you
Mm-hmm.
are doing something you love or playing something like a video game, and
Mm-hmm.
time just went by because you don't think about time. So I think it's more of kind of like that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different dimension. You are not on your regular thinking and processes, but I think that's one of the things that helps you out because in that place you can explore the things that you are not very aware of, or you're not very that you don't know of. So yeah.
Awesome, man. We talked a lot about the preparation for it. I mean, I guess while we're still here, I would love to ask you about a little bit of two things. One, what made you want to do ayahuasca if you've never done any of these psychedelics? I mean, I understand that a high dose of cannabis can be considered to be a small microdose of psilocybin or or LSD or vice versa, but why what inspired you to just go straight into ayahuasca? And also maybe what were some of the intentions and how did you come up with those intentions for your trip?
Well, I remember before my trip that I was already very curious about it, and it
Hmm.
was like calling me. Like none of the other drugs really appealed to me, but I don't
Right.
know why ayahuasca was like, okay, that's something interesting that I need to do.
Can I say
And
something super fast real quick?
yeah, yeah.
Cuernavaca is actually a really sacral ground for mushrooms, for psilocybin mushrooms. I just wanted to share that with you, man. Like you
Yeah,
probably
it's
knew
because
that.
I live, well, I know I live in Morelos, that it's where in Cuernavaca, and
Yeah,
yes, it's a place where a lot of mystical things are happening
right? I
all the
didn't
time.
know
So
that. And we're from there, so I felt like very awesome when I heard that. I was like,
yeah,
let's go.
yeah. When you return, I can take you to some places super like it's a place on
I
the
would love
mountain. Like
to.
there's
Yeah.
nothing, there's nothing like very structured, but you feel different. Like it's a very there's a special kind of energy here.
Yeah, and that didn't made you want to do psilocybin mushrooms ever? Or now?
Um, Mushrooms, no.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about peyote because also peyote is like pretty strong
Man,
here.
yeah, that's crazy.
But I'm just like on the same plan with ayahuasca. I mean, unless the opportunity like presents itself and it's completely transformed me, I'm just not
Mm,
gonna do it.
wow.
And yeah, so it's not like I'm expecting it. I'm not like looking for the opportunity because I mean I can
Yeah.
make a Google search of peyote in Tepoztlán and 1,000 options will appear. So I'm just wanted to be like more natural
Oh,
and
wow.
okay, like if it doesn't happen, I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
Like
It's not something.
you can't plan a ayahuasca trip on your birthday and on a full moon. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's some of these coincidences that just happen and you need
Synchronicities.
to be aware of them. Yeah,
I love those
and well,
moments.
that was my first ayahuasca experience. My second one,
Hmm.
um,
Oh shit, that was
I
your first?
remember. Yeah, that was my first one.
God damn.
And I remember I lost like maybe 5 kilos. I mean, I was like looking super thin because when you do it, you have breakfast like at 8, 9 a.m. and you don't eat anything for the whole day because you need an empty stomach. And
Mm,
obviously it wasn't back to back. I mean, I did the first one. I rested for I think 2 days, following the same diet and all, and then was my second experience. On that second experience, I remember that I tried to put like the intention, and it
right.
didn't follow what I wanted. But something very special that happened to me on that one is that I started feeling like the jungle, like all the noise, all the bugs that they
Oh
do a lot of noise
yeah.
there, and I was starting to feeling it like in my core, like I felt very in there. It was a bit like troubling. I mean, it wasn't a cozy feeling, but it was
Yeah.
a real feeling. It was like this is the sound of the jungle. I mean, this is the jungle. It's a dangerous place. It's a very beautiful place.
Like its
There's
own
life
entity.
everywhere. I mean, it's impressive, like the amount of life there is. You don't see in every time like when you're walking or anything, you see bugs fly in the ground. There are ants, there are bugs, there are a lot of things.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
trees and the plants are just overwhelming. There are so
Wow.
many of them, so big, so tall, so different. So it's a lot of life. And I remember that I was feeling like that amount of life inside and outside and everywhere,
Hmm.
and I was like a bit concerned, and I wanted to say something, but I remember what Teddy said, and then I realized that I've never talking, I never asked anything in my heart. Like I mean, I know my heart and whatever,
Hmm.
but
Oh, okay.
but it was something like it really hit me like okay, like my last experience, I realized I'm not my body, but this time I was exploring my body into knowing that it has its own intelligence and his own like way of being.
Hmm.
So I was like, I can't believe that I'm 24 and this is the first time I'm trying to speak to my heart. It was like something that really shook me. And it was definitely appreciated for my body felt like his gratefulness about that intention. And and yeah, I tried to work some issues that I had on that second one, but nothing like uh, very big happened. It was just the experience, the noise, and I remember I had like 1,000 different thoughts, but nothing like uh, bigger than that.
Yeah.
And the third one was I was super confident because in neither of the first or the second one I didn't. I knew that people like vomit or shit themselves while they
Right.
took it, and I didn't have any of those experiences. So I was like, my ego was a bit high because oh yeah, this is the right thing for me because it doesn't harm me. And the third one, I remember that we waited like 1 week because some things happened to Otori and he couldn't do it like 2 nights after. So we waited like 5 nights to do it the third time. And I remember that I had breakfast on Shintuya on the village, and he was already in the hut to do the ayahuasca. So I went from the village to the hut, and I saw that he had like caught a lot of fish, and he was doing a soup of fish. Oh, something I didn't mention, like you couldn't eat any meat that had any teeth on it. So fish without any teeth
Mm.
you can eat, or like chicken. But if the fish has teeth, or it's I don't know like a cow or anything like that, you cannot eat that animal.
And
Why
why
I
is
have no
that?
idea.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. Cool. I fuck with it though.
Yeah, yeah, it's like how they do it. And
Yeah.
so I went there and I saw that he prepared like a soup that it smelled incredible. And there were like potatoes and like it was a very gourmet thing on the jungle.
Yeah, potatoes, right?
And so even
Right.
though and even though I already had breakfast, I put a like a bowl of I started eating the soup like I was completely full and I started begin to eat more.
Hmm.
Why like for because of gula and I just didn't want it, but I just like
Oh, it
wanted
just
to eat.
smelled good.
Yeah, and yeah, so I ate and I went where Oteri was working. We were building something on the hut, and I told him like, the soup smells super nice, and he said, yeah, it's great, but it's for the dog because it's pregnant. You cannot eat that soup because it has fish with it. And I was like, uh, I spent like, I don't know,
What did-
maybe 30 minutes working with him. Like my mind was, you need to tell him. I mean, people get really bad on these experiences, and I was like, okay, yeah, the responsible thing is to tell him. So I told him like because I didn't want it because if we had to wait like the whole 3 weeks for the diet to kick in again,
Oh
I
my God.
wasn't gonna be able to do it. So if like I didn't want it to tell him because I
Right.
might have lose my opportunity to do it again, and I really wanted to do it again to like have the complete experience. But at the end, I mean, obviously, I told him,
Okay,
and
good.
he told me, okay, but did you eat or just try some? And I lied. I told him, nah, I just tried a little
You
bit,
motherfucker.
and he told me, oh, it's okay then, keep working, and we'll do it on later on the night. And I was like on one side relieved that it wasn't gonna do something and explode inside my stomach, but I wasn't like off the hook, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember that when we were there, we spent the whole day working. We didn't eat everything okay. And when we went to the hut to do it, like since I put it in my mouth, like the ayahuasca tasted differently. I mean, it wasn't like the other two times, and I was like, it was like acidic and I don't know, it didn't taste
Wow.
completely good. And I was like, shit.
It knows.
Because on the first like it didn't pass like 10 minutes and I was already like my stomach was hurting and I was like holy shit, this
Wow.
something's wrong, man, something's wrong.
Holy
and,
shit.
and yeah, so my ego was destroyed. I went like cool with the first two, but I knew that third one was gonna be rough because I already knew that this is not something you can just drink a lot of water and it will stop. I mean, it's inside of you and you need to go through the process, whatever it takes. So I remember I just wanted to throw up. I mean, I wanted to take the like all of this thing out.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he saw that I was like being destroyed. And he told me, like he spoke to me and he said if I was okay, and I said like, no man, I'm feeling horrible.
Nice.
And what he did just make things worse because he had this pipe, like the coolest pipe I've ever seen, that it was made from the vine of ayahuasca. And,
Whoa.
and he smoked tobacco in it. So he started like he turned off he on his pipe, and like he just grabbed me. And I remember I was just thinking of him like a big bug that was gonna do something bad to me. And he looks like a grasshopper with like his little hairs on
Oh,
his. Yeah, I was starting to trip, like not in a cool way.
yeah.
And I also felt like a disgusting bug dying. All of the jungle, like what the noise was hurting me. I mean, I was everything was discomfort and it wasn't good. So what he did, like you're looking at a giant bug in front of you, completely in the complete darkness. I just saw his silhouette because it was completely dark. So I just saw
Oh.
coming on to me and grabbing me, and he blow his tobacco pipe. He blow it first on my like on my top of my head. Then he put my hands together and blow on my hands, then on my stomach, then on my feet. And
Hmm.
I was just like completely dizzy. I mean, the tobacco smoke, like I mean, if you want to throw up, like if they put like all the tobacco smoke at you, it's not gonna help. And it didn't, but I didn't throw up. I mean, I wanted to, but it was like inside of me. So I started
Damn.
like talking to the ayahuasca. I was saying like, okay, so you're not going out, so let's work this thing out. So
Fuck yeah.
it's the fish. I know it's the fish because I ate a lot of the fish.
It's a tits.
And when you're like, you can talk to it, like it's the ayahuasca answers you somehow, like on your mind. It's like a conversation. And when I asked about the food, he was like,
Yeah.
no man, like do a little more suffering. And I was like, holy shit.
Whoa.
And then I thought about it. Okay, it wasn't the fish, it was the lie I tell Oteri that I didn't eat. And
Oh.
instantly, like my stomach was a bit of release. It was like I didn't feel good, but I felt less horrible. And I
Wow.
was like, okay, it's that way. So I started to going on that way, the way of, and then something about me is that I've been like super liar all of my life. Since I was little, my first answer to everything was a lie. I mean, I didn't do my homework. I once told I once told school that I didn't did my homework because Tita had passed away. Our grandmother had, and, and the whole day all the teachers were, oh, poor Emilio, his grandmother died.
What the
Eh,
fuck have you said to me, man? That's been a lie.
and and yeah, and when my parents like picked me up from school, I was maybe 5, 6 years old. I have no idea. When my parents picked me up, like the teacher said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss," and my mother was, "What loss? What did he
Oh
lose?"
no.
And he told him like, "Oh no," he told us that his grandmother died, and my mother said like, "Of course not." And then I was like, "Oh, it was
Damn.
yeah," but and so like that's a kid's lie. So but when you start growing up, the lies start getting bigger, and then like you start growing up and you say like, "Oh yeah, I kissed that girl because I'm awesome," and you didn't kiss anything. No, you didn't kiss anyone. Sorry. Or yeah, I went home and we had a great time. We had sex all night, but I don't know, man. You just didn't. So
Oh,
the lies just kept getting bigger. And when you get
I
older, you start
see.
believing those lies, and the lies that you tell that start like
Yeah,
being a part of you. And
100%.
they- yeah, and they are like a little black holes of energy inside your body because you don't forget the lie. Maybe you forget it, but like your unconscious doesn't. And when you tell a lie, you need to put energy, like thought, to make sure everyone still believes the lie. And so it drains you out, man. It's really it's really a black hole of energy that takes away all of your. It's just calories. Like look at it in the scientific way. We know that thought costs us calories, and if you have
Oh
to
wow.
20 lies in one day, you are giving 20 your attention to 20 different things that you need to protect and make sure everyone believes the same thing as you. So it drains you out. And what I started feeling was like, okay, I'm gonna go like since my childhood and all the way down to everything. So to think about all the lies I've told and forgive myself for those lies. And yeah, so I started like to go back in time to all of the things that I've said. And at the end, like I was feeling a lot better. I was like already I was already feeling the love. And I remember I
Mm,
lay down on my sleeping bag, and I started feeling like this energy from the tip of my toes to the top of my head, like a little like zoom, you know. And I
yeah.
remember when it got to my head, like my ears buzzed a lot, like zzz, and then I felt how it come out of my head.
Yeah.
And I was feeling like all of those lies that I've told like were releasing out of my body. I mean, I was liberating myself from those, and each one of them felt amazing. It was like I don't know, like I was carrying a bunch of stones on my back, and I was just throwing them away, like putting
Whoa.
them back on the universe. And but here's the trick. I mean, I had the most amazing experience of self growth that I consider myself to that time. And when I the next day I was like, oh my God, I'm almost enlightened. You know, I'm just gonna be awesome and never like stay with those that negative energy inside of me. And the first thing I said then was a lie, man. I mean, the first thing of the yeah, it's crazy because I woke up the next day hungry as fuck because I haven't eaten in the whole day.
Wow.
And I had a diet and all. And the doctor told me, "Are you hungry?"
No.
And myself to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm super cool and I'm super into the experience." I say, "No, I'm not hungry. I'm okay." And I just realized, I mean, man, what the fuck? You just had this incredible experience and you're not
Yeah.
gonna do another lie again in your life. And literally the first thing you say after that, it's another lie, a very
Yeah.
small one, but it's a lie. And I was, holy shit, no, this isn't over. I mean, this is a life's work of being impeccable with your speech. And it did, man. I mean, since that moment, I've been trying so hard not to tell a single lie, and it has gotten me into trouble, of course. but
Mm,
but it's like it's very difficult. I mean, I've been here like 2 years every day thinking of, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie. It's not something like I thought every day, but it's something that it's already inside of me, right? So before the first interaction with the world, like when every demand came to me, what I thought is, okay, I'm gonna lie to ease the load. No, I'm gonna lie because it's gonna be easier. That was my mentality, and I think that's like the very common mentality, to lie because you want to deflect something or just avoid something. And but I
mhm,
knew that every single lie, it was a black hole that's gonna take away my energy, and I didn't want
mm.
that. I didn't want to have any part of that. So yeah,
Wow.
it's been, and man, I feel like so light right now because I
Yeah.
know I haven't, you know, said a big lie. I have said some lies and I instantly regret. And what sometimes happens to me is that I
Wow.
say a lie and I know, like I'm aware that I told a lie, and I was like, no, no, that was like it's this other thing. So yeah, so if by somehow I tell a lie because it happens to me still, I just instantly correct the path. I mean, no, no, that's not the right path. This I'm gonna tell the truth.
Mm.
and
That's what
and
it is.
it's great. I mean, it's really like to know. that you don't have to hide anything to anyone. It's so releasing. I mean, I remember in the past feeling overwhelmed because sometimes different groups of friends interact together, and to one group of friends believe something of me, and the other group believes something differently.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
like super overwhelmed because holy shit, they're gonna find out I told a lie and everything is gonna fall down. It was horrible. I mean, it's very draining to be living that way, and to be on the same house with someone that you need to keep away the truth for them. It's very draining. So yeah. So right now,
Yeah.
like, I know there's no lies. People don't believe anything that it's not true about me. At least for the things that I've said. And yeah, it's super liberating. I mean, you can just go through life being happy because you don't have to worry about that something's gonna go off, because you know you are true to yourself. And so yeah, it has been awesome. And I think that was one of without ayahuasca, I could never done that. I don't think that my intellectual mind would have led me. Probably it could have, but it would have taken a lot of years to get to that level. So so yeah, it's like having a boost, but you do need to work with ayahuasca in the right way, the how it was meant to be worked. Because if you want to do those kind of drugs just to have a good trip and see like some plants come to life and talk to the sun or anything, I mean, they're way more powerful than that. And yeah, I don't, that's not the way they're meant to be used.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
I think it's so funny when people do that and then they like post on their stories. They're like, I'm out
Mm,
here spending the day in the desert. I went out here and they don't realize that it's not that much of like going somewhere. It's like you need to have the right intention and uh mentality for it.
yeah. Yeah, a lot of those drugs, I think, well, I'm not completely sure, but in my mind, they're all are like to do the introspection and to start figuring out things for yourself. And they do have these effects that fill you with joy and happiness, but it's not the way they're supposed to be used. I mean, you
Hmm.
can have those experiences and be grateful for them, but also I think that you need to treat them with more respect of that, like to realize that they're like conscious beings, and you use them
Mm.
the way our ancestors have done so, with a lot of research of trial and error to like put us on the right path.
Yes, I love the idea that the quote, we are not human beings that have spiritual experiences, but rather we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah, for sure. It's a
Like
great quote.
I love looking at the idea of this moment in this life almost as the human drug. Like we took the human drug to get here and we're experiencing that right now and we like want to take more drugs to like escape it but like bro we're in a trip right now. This trip is crazy.
Yeah, when you realize the amounts of love and gratefulness you can have by just looking at a plant being completely sober, it's amazing. It's like, wow.
Yeah, yeah, man. Holy shit.
Great.
Man, I want to ask you one final question. It's some advice that you would give someone maybe like me or someone who may think about be doing ayahuasca and doesn't know how to start going on these trips because it's just not. Yeah, like what advice would you have for some people like that who are wanting to have this experience?
Yeah. So I mean, I think I was incredibly lucky to be able to do that experience and to be able to reach that place without looking for it specifically. Uh,
Mm,
Maybe if people want to do it, they just needs to do it in a more organic and more natural way. Like, if the opportunity doesn't present themselves like very clearly and they're not completely sure of it, they should just pass because I think these drugs are doing being more and more common.
Hmm.
And like if it doesn't sound completely perfect on the first instant, just don't do it. Like it's gonna happen sometimes sooner or later, but better be later and have the experience you were meant to do. Because the thing is that all of these tribe of people that the medicines are from, they are also getting a bit corrupted for the like our way of
Mm.
like this is becoming an economical activity. It's been driven by an economical purpose, so it loses a bit of the confidence in the plant. And
Hmm.
for example, I know that on the north of Mexico, there is this drug come from toads. I don't remember how it's called.
DMT?
No, no, no. It's a very also a very powerful drug, very powerful. That it was at first it was a cultural experience because only the indigenous people of the deserts of the north knew about it. But now you can go to those places. The all the narcos are controlling like how you get those drugs. So if you want to have the experience, you need to pay I don't know like 2,000 pesos or something like that.
At
But
least.
everything it's just it's just corrupted and it's not good for the indigenous people also because they start coming to our mentality that it's destroying the world. So it's also not good for them.
Mm.
So I would recommend more to the people to start like doing little steps, start doing some meditation, start like doing the inside work without any drugs to see where that leads them. And after that, if they feel that it's necessary, you can also like go look. But yeah, try not to do it with someone that is driven by an economical purpose. That I think that's one of the important things.
Mm.
And also to be sure what you are taking, right? So it's not like a very polluted drug, something like that.
Hmm. And just wondering, does this shaman drink any ayahuasca as well, or is it just here he's like just completely sober? Or is he already
Yeah,
in that
he
mindset?
drinks. No, he drinks it. We both drink it in all of the trips. But I
Damn,
mean, yeah, ayahuasca for him, it's like a tea.
coffee.
I mean, he told me that he once spent 1 month consuming like every second day ayahuasca. So I mean, but it's kind of in his DNA. I mean, all of his
Right.
grandfather, his all of his forefathers like did it. So I think
Yeah.
different bodies are able to cope with different things. I mean, for sure, I know that I wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, I know it would be horrible. But I mean, I live all my life in a city. He lived all his life in the jungle. It's super different.
Yeah. Right. Like ours would probably be tequila or something that's we got in our blood.
Well, with our grandmother, probably would.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Man, well, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again, bro. Probably this Christmas or something.
yeah, for sure. Come here to Mexico and
Oh yeah.
come here to Tepoztlan. It's an honor
Yeah.
to be Tepoztlan.
Dude, I would love to.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. So see you very soon. Hopefully, probably in Christmas. Maybe hopefully sooner. Maybe I go there to the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I can't wait, man. That sounds awesome. And thank you so much. This was great. This was so great. I want to talk to you about this all night, bro. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, man.
So thanks for having me, man.
Of
It was a nice
course.
experience. Bye bye.
Emilio, thank you.
See
Goodbye.
you around, man.